Alright, we should be live right now. Everyone, welcome to the first Microcasting St. Louis Q&A of 2018. Here we are right now. Currently things are around 19 degrees with sunny skies, and things are probably going to remain around this way for the rest of the day today. So today we do have at least what I would consider pretty exciting few things in case we would like to do those today, and I have a few ideas of what we could do. So I'll start that here very shortly. Very soon. So here we are. I'm first going to start off with our National Weather Service alerts. So we have a winter weather advisory in effect is Sunday, and this is for that freezing rain, that wintry precipitation that we could be experiencing. So here's that map just showing us what exactly we do have going on, and hopefully just exactly what we are looking like we are going to see. So it looks as if we're probably going to get some freezing precipitation. Difficult travel is expected here as these next few days do go on. Getting back to this is future radar right here, and this is the end of it. That is about 15 days out. This is day 3, and you can see the date actually right up there. You can see it towards the top right corner of the precipitation mapping, and so that's there. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will be more than glad to answer those. First, though, I do want to go to some YouTube live stream stuff. If you go into the live stream right here, and you click this eye in the corner, you'll see a poll saying, do you want to play Guess the Hurricane? So if you want to do that, please let me know. If you don't want to do that, please let me know as well. So that way I can see if we can play that later in the stream. This stream will be lasting until around 2 o'clock today, so things should be pretty fun, and we should hopefully have a good time. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will be more than glad to answer those. Alright, well, first I'm just going to get into continental United States and see what pattern we're in and what pattern this weather model shows us in the future. So I'm going to open up my program. Those of you that have been watching all the way back to Took Bros will know this program all too well. It's Epic Pen, and let's take a look at it. So here we go. We have this cold dip here. This dip of extremely cold air that we're dealing with right now. And this dip of extremely cold air has a much colder, this is all below 0 temperatures here. And then this is just still really cold temperatures around here. First, I'm actually going to do something real quick that should help. If I get the cursor on, it should help. But there we go, we got the blue. This is the freezing line. And we've got the pink. That is the below 0 line. So you've got both of these. And we do have just very cold temperatures in the US right now, especially for January. Let's see what this weather model says we're going to get in the future. So if we take a look at these temperatures, here we go. We get the really cold air to move out. That actually gets pushed north by the polar vortex, and we have this surge of warm air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, and that's what's bringing us these abnormally warm temperatures, especially down here, at least compared to what we've had. This is once again the freezing line, and we'll still have things on the freezing mark. This is on the 8th, so this is 2 days from now, and we see already a drastic pattern change. We see still this extremely cold air up in Canada, and we see another cold blast that's going to come in, although it's not anywhere near as strong as this one was, and that is some good news. So if we continue to take a look at this as time does go on, here we are. This is a warm pattern. We have a warm pattern now. We have this very warm air surging in from the south, and then we also do have resistance from the cold as well, and that is this. So we have this jet stream. This is the subtropical jet here, and we see it doing something like this. And then we see this jet, the polar jet, doing something like this. So we have this surge of warm air, and we have this ridge here. So this ridge is causing resistance, and that doesn't allow this cold air to come down, although it looks as if we are getting a huge amount of cold air, and that's trying to splurge down into the US, but that is being prevented at this point. Although, as you can see, it does break through the ridge. This is on the 12th, and now we see very cold air here, and this is bordering St. Louis. So once again, freezing line is right here. Entire US, we're below freezing now, and this is below zero. So this is all, for the vast majority, still up in Canada, and we don't have much to worry about. But if we continue to look ahead, we will get some extremely cold temperatures in places like Maine. Getting into, this is like the 13th. We have nearly below freezing temperatures, and we have this freezing line right around here. We still have this ridge, not quite as strong as it was before, but we still have this ridge that's causing this resistance, and we also have this ridge here. So we have a low here, a high here, and another high here. And we do just have a point of neutral pressure. So we see this jet. And that jet means that we're probably going to see a cold blast soon, because we get this cold barging down. This probably means that either this is going to stabilize and become one big strong ridge, or this is going to break through. We're going to have two separate weak ridges, and we're going to have extremely cold air down the middle here. So we'll see what this model says. We'll see if the ridge is strong enough or not. It does not look like the ridge is quite strong enough, and what will happen is we'll see this low here, bringing all this cold air up and around here. And this cold will probably hit St. Louis. We're getting below freezing again, although it's looking like it'll move out in short order after that. So we take a look at this brand new, just a second, we take a look at this brand new ridge. It's actually all the way out here, but the system does affect our weather, even though it's all the way out in the Pacific near Hawaii. So we have this very strong ridge. We do have this bulge down here, and that is some colder air. And we have another pretty weak ridge, but it's still there. And we actually have a dip down right here, which means that this cold air is probably going to go flooding down here any minute. We'll see what happens. And there you go. You get the cold air breach, the cold air breakthrough, and that cold air gets through here. We're above freezing now. And this is January 20th, which, in my personal opinion, is a little bit farther out than we need to be, which means that we're probably starting to get into some large inaccuracies here. But we have this here, this cold air, it's going to be coming in. We have this that's moving through, and we have this warm air right here. It's a ridge. And then you can see we do have this low. This is a low pressure system. It rotates counterclockwise like this, and it's pulling all this cold air down south, and it's pushing all this warm air up north. And this is a combo for some very heavy snow. Now, it's where the freezing line is. The freezing line is going to be where you get all that precipitation. So we'll see exactly where this goes. And that is, there we get the freezing line. We get the primary part of the winter storm straight over St. Louis, which means that we could get quite a bit of rain. If you have any questions, please let me know or ask me in the live chat, and I will be more than glad to answer those. But yeah, it looks like we could get quite the large winter storm, and we're starting to see this cold breach, this ridge breaking down and moving out of the way, and we have this new high pressure system here with this low pushing on it. So this ridge has a lot of pressure on it from this low, and and those are looking like they're going to start to break it down. We're going to get cold air splurging here, and this will probably be some very cold air moving in. This is January 22nd. Winter weather moves through, and we're just along the freezing line. This is the 24th, and throughout the 23rd and the 24th, we're just along that freezing line. And that line is, well, where we'll probably see a lot of that precipitation. So it depends on just how far south that goes. We have this ridge here bringing warmer air in, but we're seeing this cold air intrusion now. And since we're seeing this cold air intrusion, that could mean that this could be breaking down here soon. And then we also do have the low here that was breaking it down earlier, another low and another low. We then go on, and this comes on in. We get another cold blast here. This is on the 26th. And we have this cold blast. We're on the back end of it, but we have this thing collapsing down, this ridge actually staying out, and really starting to wrap in some colder air. And then we also do have this area that is keeping a ridge here, preventing cold air from splurging down over there. Then the ridge moves over here. We get that high pressure system right here that's causing warm air to be surged in right around here, that is preventing that cold air from coming in. We also have this high here that is really starting to wrap around and become very, very cold as it does move in. This then continues to move in, but is breaking down. It's actually getting stronger, and we get this incredibly cold air coming in. We have very, very cold air for St. Louis. Almost the entire country is below freezing, except for, well, the eastern states, the far eastern states, they aren't getting below zero. Then we have the below zero line here, and this is looking like it's ready to plunge south, which could mean we have historically cold temperatures. So we'll see just how cold this gets. And there you go, you see the plunge to the south. St. Louis here, which is where we are, that is getting below zero now. We're right along that below zero line. We have this thing with a low here. Now nearly the entire country below freezing, but the western states aren't. It's that kind of thing. Now this is on January 31st. February, we start with a cold air plunge here. Another cold air plunge right over St. Louis. This is very cold. And another winter storm is what that's a classic sign of. We have a low here. We have another low here. We have a high here. And this is just looking like a situation that is going to bring us quite a bit of precipitation. So that's going to move along through, and this is really the end of the future that I can see. Yeah, St. Louis looking like it will be finally getting some real winter this year. I think I'm nearly guaranteeing some big snow by the end of this month, and I'm actually going to go to the global forecast system for that. This is us right here. We're at around 8 degrees right now, and I'm going to go to the precipitation. And if I gradually move out, this is tomorrow. This is tomorrow, some freezing rain moving in, and we also have some rain, but that'll freeze overnight. And road temperatures and surface temperatures will still be below freezing. So that moves on through, and we're actually pretty dry. But this system right here, this is the crazy system that's probably going to cause the big snow. And this guy actually looks like it's going north of us here, although it could extend farther south before we get the winter battle zone going along. We can get a clipper nearly hitting us, but what I can say is that this is on the 14th or 15th, so if this misses, that's okay, because, well, we're going to be getting some snow anyway, I'm pretty sure, and this system could also be bringing snow. Freezing line is actually right along here. This is the freezing line, this is the snow, and the reason why that is because this rain can't quite transition correctly yet. But we see by the end of this, we do get a big snow. This is on the 22nd. And these actually do change quite a bit, but all of them are in good agreement that we're going to get some snow. That we're going to get a lot of snow from something. So there you go. There's the second big snow that we have from another run. And then here we go with the third big snow or ice event from this run. So this is generally saying that we have a pretty big snow situation. Alright. Franticardus, I think is how you pronounce that. I apologize if I mispronounced it. What do you have to say about the whole snow bomb thing on the East Coast? Well, if I can go to trustywindy.com, I can show you, because this is really good at showing things in a way that people can visually see and understand very well. So here we go. Trying to get it to work. It's not functioning too well. There we go. So I'll move Epic Pen to the other side here. And this is what we're looking at with the snow bomb. The snow bomb's out of here. Snow bomb thing is actually up here. All the way up in Newfoundland. But what the snow bomb was a system that from the south started developing here and rapidly intensified as it headed up north through the East Coast and caused quite a bit of snow. That was not a good graphical representation, but I can actually see if I can find my weather archives and we can see this for ourselves. So if I go over here and I go to 2018, I go to January, we'll go to 2nd, go and add in 3 extra days. We'll get to see, I guess, the true extent of this. So if we look at the satellite, that was not the first one I wanted. If we go to the national satellite and zoom out a little bit, we'll be able to see the system as it heads up north, and I'm just going to take this very gradually. So if we go along and take a look, this is it. This is the bomb system. So this blue is moisture. Right? Paul Schwent asks, what is a snow bomb? So what a snow bomb is, or it's more called a bomb low pressure system, is a low pressure system that develops somewhere along the Atlantic, and as it goes up the coast, it rapidly intensifies. It grows in size, it produces more and more snow, it has more and more wind because it's becoming more and more intense as time does go on. So bomb low pressure systems, we could technically say a hurricane can be a bomb low pressure system, but it means that we call the term bomb out, where they just intensify really rapidly and produce harsh weather conditions. So this is what would become the bomb as it's south here. It's not very organized, and it's not very large. I mean, it's large in relative terms to the US already, and we do have another part of moisture out there. But if we advance this along, well, that satellite went out. Here we are, and this is looking much stronger. You have the center here, you have a much more robust system now with much more intensity to it and much more moisture, and you can almost see like a hurricane center right there. So it's almost like a hurricane of some sort, although it doesn't have those tropical characteristics. And as this would continue up the coast, this continues to expand, become more moist, and just go up, and it fans out like this. So you have dry air coming in on this side and moist air coming in on this side, and that's causing that low pressure rotation. You can see now the center clearly exposed, and as it moved up the coast, you can almost see like an eye formation here at this point, as this thing is absolutely gigantic and something that we don't see very often. And that is the explanation of the snow bomb. And then we also do have this system down here that would, I think, develop into something. Till now. So this is where we are really right now. The snow bomb is almost out of the US. And we're not looking at too much. Alright, I'm going to take a quick look at something. Alright, so we'll go back and we'll see what else we can do. So I think that I'm going to maybe explain some past hurricanes. Are we going to get out of school on Monday? Paul Schwen asks. That's a good question. That's a very good question. And the real answer is we're not exactly sure. You can actually see up on the screen the winter weather advisory that is in effect at this time from the National Weather Service, because we could get out of school. And the basic gist of it is we're going to get precipitation. Now let me show you. We're going to move on to Sunday. I'll use the ECMWF because I personally prefer it. But we're going to get this precipitation moving in. Now, this doesn't specify if it's rain or snow, but this is almost a quarter of an inch, over a quarter of an inch. So we could get up to half an inch of what would be rain. Now, road temperatures throughout the entire day, even though the high and the low are going to be above freezing, throughout the entire day, we're going to see the roads having below freezing temperatures. And what this means is that we're going to see freezing rain. So it depends on if they're able to treat the roads well enough. There's a lot of variables, but I would say that chances, as I keep on looking at this, are getting better and better for us to get off of school on Monday. Alright, now that that question is answered, I'm going to go back and we can look at some past hurricanes, see how those affected us. So I think 2017, as we all know, was a pretty big season for tropical cyclones, and was one that had the most hurricanes we've had in a long time. So I guess we'll start with one that was significant to me, the first one that was significant, at least to me. It probably wasn't significant to too many people. This is Tropical Storm Cindy. Now, Tropical Storm Cindy was around while I was on a vacation in Florida. And I was actually right about here. And this was Cindy. You had this massive amount of rain going straight in to where my family and I was taking a vacation. So we watch this, and we see that as it's almost there, and it just rams straight in to where I was kind of on vacation. Although it actually struck Texas with its winds and everything, which did surprise me a little bit, because it could have gone either way. But that was the first significant one. Didn't really do too much. And then I think that this is the one that a lot of people remember as the most significant storm of this year. This didn't make it to Category 5 like two of our other most significant, but I think to most people this is more significant than any other hurricane we've had in an extraordinarily long time. And you know, it's kind of something to behold just how powerful this got, and just how much of an anomaly it was, because in every way that I could possibly say it, we did not think this was going to become anything. This was Harvey at first. It's a pretty awful looking system, because the center is actually all the way up here. And if you want an eye around a storm, the eye's where the center is. So if you have all your storms down here, you're not really going to get anywhere too quickly. And this was going into very harsh weather conditions over here for it, which would kill it off. It would actually kill it off. And you can watch that happen here. You can watch it die off. It's dead. It's nothing now. It's a remnant. It's not even rotating. It's just this line of thunderstorms headed towards the Yucatan Peninsula. And that was the tropical wave axis right here. It was still considered a wave, and the Hurricane Center started to see it develop again as it was over the Yucatan Peninsula, and as it came off, it was declared again Tropical Depression Harvey. And we were initially thinking this wasn't going to become much of anything, and we just took it up north and said maybe a tropical storm strike. Maybe a tropical storm strike. That is, if it even survives. So, we see it develop further, and now we have Tropical Storm Harvey. And we're saying now, Harvey's going to head up north, and we're going to probably see a tropical storm landfall, winds of up to 70 miles an hour. So, we're predicting right now winds of 70. This thing strikes with winds nearly double that at 130. So, quite a large difference. But this becomes a Category 1 hurricane right around this point. And it's well organized. This is the center now. The center is now covered in a complete ring of thunderstorms. And as this would go up and along, we would say, okay, maybe a Category 2 hit. Maybe even a 3. Maybe a 115 hit. But we were predicting a 95 hit. Well, that 95 hit, it hit 95 right here. So it was already at 95, and we were just saying, oh no. This is going to be an extremely strong hurricane. And this was about our cone of uncertainty. And we expected a 3 here. And then the Hurricane Center called for a 3. At this point, I would have probably said a weak 4, which is what it became. But either one is still just as dangerous, and because they were predicting 125, I predicted 130 at this point. And as this headed up, it would develop an eye, 115, and then it would collapse. And here we go. We have a 120 mile an hour hurricane barreling towards Texas. This is bad. And here's what happened. This strikes Texas. This wouldn't be actually that bad of a hurricane if it didn't go back around and stall for like 3 days straight, go back out and dump a ton of rain everywhere in Texas and flood the entire state. Put it underwater. So the system would then hit its peak intensity of 135 miles an hour as it was striking. Alright. Fran Tardis asks, do you have actual weather equipment? Well, define actual weather equipment. I don't have a weather balloon. I do have a green screen. I also do have weather models at my disposal to use. So I guess it's, what is your definition of actual weather equipment? And I'll actually be taking a quick break shortly, and after that, I'll be on the green screen for a little bit, I think, and do a few things, just keep us caught up on what's going on with the weather, and if there are any significant changes in the forecast. But yeah, I guess in actual weather equipment, I mean, I have weather models. I don't have like a weather balloon or weather radar at my house or anything, but I do have satellite information, current conditions, and powerful graphics capabilities. So I guess if you define that as weather equipment, that's what I have. And then here's Harvey as it makes its final strike, still having an eye while it's making landfall in Corpus Christi. And here it is fizzling out and collapsing. And this is where it stalled for days on end. And I'll be honest, it was rather unfortunate. just what this did. That was Hurricane Harvey. Let's take a look out of the second of the 3 big bad hurricanes. And Jose actually wasn't that much of a threat, and it wasn't actually that bad. But Irma here was pretty bad. So this is Irma's beginnings. It actually looks better than Harvey did. Its center is right here. It's got thunderstorms around it. And, you know, in my personal opinion, that's a pretty good structure for a tropical depression. It would strengthen to a tropical storm, become a hurricane very shortly. A very small hurricane, but it was a hurricane. And the hurricane would develop an eye, would become Category 3, collapse the eye, Category 2. Open back up the eye, Category 3. Collapse the eye, Category 2. And this thing had a ton of eye openings and collapsing as it did move along. And it wasn't really getting its structure very well. But what would happen is, you can see it expanding in size. This is larger than it was before, and this means that that eye wall is finally taking over and getting itself together. And here we are. We'd have one last collapse, but this would really start to grow in size. We have a massive hurricane now, a Category 3, maybe even a 4 at this point, headed for the leewards. And this would be when it would really start to blow up. So we'd have a Category 4 here. Even one last eye collapse before this thing just blew up and finally became a Category 4. Nearly its eye collapsed again, but it would then become a Category 5, and it would just completely surprise everyone with its 185-mile-an-hour wind speed. And as it went by the leewards, it just devastated multiple islands. And Irma would actually batter Puerto Rico with winds up to 145 miles an hour before it did weaken down to a Category 4 as it was headed for Cuba. We were not really expecting Cuba to get much out of this, but they did. They got a Category 5 landfall. And this would be a very tricky forecasting point for the National Hurricane Center, because after this it would right up the coast, and right here we had breaking news that Irma was expected to strike as a Category 5 with winds of 160 miles an hour. That would have been nuts. But it actually struck with winds of 145 miles an hour as its eye went inland and it weakened down as it did die off. Now, this was also a pretty devastating hurricane, although not as devastating as Harvey. Now, you can argue either way which was more devastating, Maria or Harvey. I personally think Harvey, but Maria also had its, I guess, spotlight, its time to shine as a pretty awful hurricane. So once again, structured very well. This is it as a Category 1. I'm going to go 6 hours later. Maybe a Category 2. Maybe a 2. 6 hours. Here we have a 3. 4. This thing, which was expected to be a Category 2 here by me, I think at this point, would be a 5 as it struck. Then we can do a Category 4, and would very quickly re-strengthen to a Category 5 with winds of up to 175 miles an hour. The system would definitely be one to remember, and will definitely be one in the history books. And as you can see, we can do a Category 4 before absolutely demolishing Puerto Rico. Like, demolishing it. And making most of the island without power. The system would then do this. Now, this looks very strong, but it's only a Category 3, maybe a 2. The reason why is because that eye's jagged, you don't have the red surrounding the entire thing. And especially because this quadrant right here, this part of the hurricane is supposed to be the strongest part. It's the weakest part, which means that this is still recovering, and this is not an organized hurricane. This is a badly organized hurricane. So this would move up and about and would threaten the United States. And it would cause some issues, but it would not become much of a threat in the end. And there it is, Hurricane Maria at its finest. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. I will be right back after a few minutes. Alright, we should be back, and hopefully ready for more. So, I'm going to leave things here just for a second, because I have a couple of things I want to do, and so I'll just leave a loop of Hurricane Harvey running just for a little while longer while I am waiting and while trying to get something ready. Alright, Hyperdraw is saying, can you draw? Not really, but thanks for asking. Alright, I'll answer the rest of the questions you guys ask in just a second. Alright, now I'm really back. I'm truly back. And now, let's check something. I'm just gonna raise my hand. There we go. Green screen does work. So now, I'm gonna get up here on the green screen real quick. Talk about a few things. So, sorry, a microphone problem. Here, let me just get some things ready. Here we are. This isn't actually quite positioned correctly. So I'm actually going to reposition that right now. We'll see if maybe this is just a little bit better. Alright, is that better? A little bit. Right, there we go. Much better. Much better. So, at this point, Hurricane Harvey is about... Oh, I got these screens wrong. Green screen setting up is so great. And I'm doing it live. There we go. So at this point, Hurricane Harvey is basically dead. It's not really going to be around for much longer. It's inland, and it's just... It's gone. There's not much more to it than that. Here we are. I'll get my little pointer. This is Hurricane Harvey. And this is its storms that are going up. And this is actually expanding because it's losing energy. And so the storms don't want to stay with the low pressure system, which is right here. Okay, I'm done with the pointer. But yeah, it's just basically a quick green screen test. And I'll get back up on the green screen if you would like to. Alright. Okay, so here's something. I just found something that you might find pretty great. And that is my old microphone. This was the microphone that I used a while ago. I'll actually show it here. Just a second. There it is. It's broken now. You can actually pull the wire through it. But this was my old microphone. Alright, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I will be more than glad to answer them. And, you know, I think that maybe today we could have a quick refresher. Some people here before have already seen a few things that I've done, but I'm going to show how a tornado forms. Apparently using Paint and not Paint 3D. Even though I think I have it. There we go. So I'll just create a brand new one. And we'll start from there. So, I should have a microcasting New York. I'm not sure. I may expand to other places at some point soon, but at this time I'm sticking with St. Louis for now. Alright, so I'm going to now explain how a tornado forms. So, I'm not a good drawer, but I'm going to try and draw the United States as best as I can. Here's Texas. Here's the coastline. Gulf, Florida, and then the rest is all history. So, we have Texas and Florida, and this is what we get. In the springtime, you get warm air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, and you get cold air to meet it. Microcasting Buenos Aires. I think I'm going to stick with St. Louis, like I said, for now. Actually, wait. Let me actually show something else. In just a second. Oh, that's not what I want. Where is it? It should be around here somewhere. Alright, I have a slideshow on how a tornado forms. Oh yeah, here, let me show you this. This is actually something I've been working on for a long time. Well, for a little while now. This is just a quick demo I'd like to show you of the Microcasting St. Louis website. This is how it looks for now. If you have any suggestions for how I can improve it, please let me know. But this is it right now. So at the top, I have just and this is I guess, alpha version at this time. But you have Microcasting St. Louis right here. And then we have what it's all about. So it talks about me and information and stuff. This is just a free thing. And then this forecast isn't even the latest one. But you still get the point. It's me talking to a camera, and it serves its purpose for now, since this isn't really open to the public. And then there aren't any tropical cyclones currently active that I'm updating on. Then we get another part. This is weather history. What it is, and these are all 5 episodes. The 6th one is coming soon, actually. We'll see that soon. And then this is the winter weather outlook for 2017 through 2018, in case you haven't seen it yet. Here's a good chunk of it. It's basically, this is this is the precipitation anomalies for December through February, and it shows above average precipitation. We haven't really had above average precipitation yet, as I thought we would, but that's okay. It looks like we probably will at some point sooner or later. I'm going to just update a few things real quick. And here we go. So we have that for temperatures, and then our temperatures are just going to be above average throughout the entire area. So that's what I see here. And then this is what if. There's only one episode of this. It's not too great. But this is what if the Yellowstone volcano did erupt. So this is really what I have for now. If you have any ideas, just let me know of how I could improve this. Alright, other things. Oh my goodness, I remember this. This was my first winter weather outlook I ever made. This thing is old, but I think it would be just nice to see. Just because I find it to be fun. So, 2015 through 2016, I was kind of right. I was right about temperatures, kind of right about precipitation, although we were a little bit drier than I said we would be. So, that's where we're at right now. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and I'd be more than glad to answer those. Here it is. This is it, how a tornado forms. This isn't actually even released as a video of any sort right now, but I think that it would be just good to go over. I thought I would just show it on the live stream, because why not? Alright, so as you can see, this is sponsored by Floyd, as this live stream is. You can check them out actually in the link in the description, not just on the stream, but you can also see them in the description of all of my videos, so you can find out what they do. They do a lot of good custom glass work and are really doing pretty good right now. So, you know, I think that they're a pretty good company to go to. They're one that I definitely support. And so you can go over there, find custom glass, custom showers. They also have a sister company called Floyd Renovations you can also go to. So here's how this all starts. You'll typically get warm air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico and cold air that's actually coming in from... Here, let me actually just get rid of all this. You'll actually get cold air coming in from here, from Canada, and that will lead to Tornado Alley, and that's where you'll find all of these tornadoes forming. Alright. And there we go. So, we're looking at this right now, and yeah, you'll just see those tornadoes forming. So here we go. This is what happens as this warm air and cold air collide. So you have this cold air right here. It's pushing in on this warm air. So this warm air has to go up and rise, and this actually gets colder because the atmosphere is colder, and once that happens, you get thunderstorms, and eventually those thunderstorms can become tornadoes. If it is for a long enough time. So, once again, we get these tornadoes, and that is how it happens. So, we'll start with the different types of thunderstorms that can develop and which ones can produce tornadoes. We'll start with single cell thunderstorms. These are just these little blips. They're also called pulse storms sometimes. They don't normally last very long, and they're normally not severe. If updraft is strong enough, these storms can become severe. Multi-cell thunderstorms last for hours, if not days, normally. Normally, they're not severe, though. If updraft is strong enough, these storms can become severe. Supercell thunderstorms. They are long-lived, always severe, capable of producing record-large hail, destructive winds, and violent tornadoes. So this is where you'll get the vast majority of your tornadoes from supercells, although you'll occasionally get them from a multi-cell, or maybe even if it's extremely rare, a super rare occasion, you could get a thunderstorm, a tornado from a single-cell thunderstorm. Alright, well, for those of you watching that haven't yet or want to, you can click the eye in the corner of the screen here, and you'll find a poll here I have. Do you want to play Guess the Hurricane or not? Please let me know, because if we did, that would be in 4 minutes or so. So, would this be a violent tornado? Well, let's take a look. We have the hail core in yellow. In red here, we have the tornado, and this is the inflow notch. So, this would probably be a violent tornado, and this is actually the tornado that formed out of it. So, I think, personally, that this is a pretty violent tornado. You can see subvortices here, you can see the main tornado, and you can see signs and stuff. Oh, Charlie's, this would all be destroyed as this tornado is actually heading in that general direction. And now I'm not going to show a part that's going to happen any minute now. But here we are with tornado formation. So, you have wind shear. Stronger winds in the upper levels, weaker winds in the lower levels, and you get a spin. That spin can, in eventuality, create a tornado, as you can see. And then this I'm not going to show, but it is from Pecco's Hank. You can actually go watch it on YouTube, but it's called The Largest Tornado Ever, From Birth to Death, with radar commentary. May 31st, 2013. This is Pecco's Hank. I personally really do like this guy. And that is how a tornado forms. Right, I'm looking at our poll results, and we have a 100% yes for playing Guess the Hurricane. So, I'm going to get that pulled up right here, right now. So we can start playing it. Because we got about half an hour until the stream ends. So here we go. Guess the hurricane. Now, there are a few to this that were in another live stream I did, although it was a demo. But here we go. There are a total of, let's see, there are a total of 8 different hurricanes, although 5 of them are just guessing the hurricane itself, and 5 of them are guessing its intensity. So, see here, I'm trying to get this to present to the right screen without me having to show anything. Alright, there we go. So, here we are with Guess the Hurricane. This is going to be something where you guys in chat have to guess what hurricane this is. So, whoever guesses it right gets a point, and, well, you get to see whoever gets the most points wins. Unfortunately, there's no prize or anything that I can give out, but whoever does get the most points will win this. So, we'll get started right now. What hurricane is this? And I'll give out hints as time does go on. But here we go. What hurricane is this? Alright, let's see. I'll give it about 5 more seconds until I give my first hint. Alright, first hint, this hurricane did make it to Category 5 intensity at one point in its life, and this is not when it was a Category 5. Alright, Jaden Keem says, Hurricane Harvey. This is not Harvey. Harvey only made it up to a Category 4 and it struck Texas. This hurricane struck New Orleans. This also was not a hurricane from 2017. Alright. Penrod's Weather says Katrina. That is correct. This was Hurricane Katrina. Penrod's Weather does get 1 point here. And we will go on to the next storm. But yes, this was correct. This was Hurricane Katrina of 2005. Congratulations. Alright, now what hurricane is this? I'll start giving out hints in about 20 seconds. Alright, here we go with our first hint. Jaden's saying, is this Irma? This is not Irma. This hurricane is the largest that ever existed in the Atlantic Ocean. Alright, this hurricane did occur after Katrina. Penrod's Weather gets it correct again. This is Hurricane Sandy of 2012. Alright, there we go. That is correct. Now starting to get on to some slightly more difficult ones here. Alright, what hurricane is this? And this time I'm just gonna leave it to the crowd for a minute or two before I start giving hints. Alright, next Sundance says that looks like Maria. This is not Maria. Penrod's Weather asking for the location of this system. Although I think I'm going to wait for just a little bit longer. And after that, I will give out a hint. Okay, here is a hint. This is the location. This was in the Atlantic Ocean. If it's by Cuba, it's Irma. This is Hurricane Irma. That is correct. Congratulations. This is actually by the leewards. Cuba isn't even in this picture. But still, you did say Irma. This is Hurricane Irma of 2017. Penrod's Weather here going 3 with everyone else at 0 at this time. We'll see if you can catch up. Alright, what is this? This one is going to be much more difficult, I think, to guess. Still anyone's game, and there will be a round 2 after this one. Hurricane Jose, this is not Hurricane Jose. There aren't any penalties for multiple guesses, no. And how early are you awake in the morning to do your forecast? Well, in the morning, I just normally wake up. Whenever I want to, I wake up sometimes at 6:30. There was a time when I woke up pretty early in the morning to do it, when I was using a different forecasting method than I am now. And the next sentence says that this looks like the historic Galveston hurricane. This is not the historic Galveston hurricane. That was not within the satellite era. I will give out a first hint. This is a Western Pacific typhoon. that occurred before 2000. Alright, still at this time, no guesses. This typhoon did occur between 1970 and 1980. And was a very historic one from a meteorological sense, but not such a historic one from the average person's sense. Alright, I'm going to give us a couple more minutes to try and guess this typhoon. And then if we don't guess this, I'll move on to the next one before we do move on to round 2, which only has 3 different storms. And you don't guess the actual storm, you guess the intensity. Okay. Next sentence saying Joan. This is not Joan, but like I said, this is a typhoon. Alright, this did occur between 1975 and 1980. Continue to narrow it down. And the system did have the lowest barometric pressure in recorded history. That should give it away. Justin Tyler saying, trick question, that is Jupiter. It is very strong, not as strong as Jupiter's, but this is a Western Pacific typhoon. 1975 through 1980 is when this storm could have occurred. Lowest barometric pressure in recorded history, and it was one of the largest storms in recorded history as well, slightly larger than Sandy. Alright, I'm going to give us until 1:40, and then I'm going to tell you what exactly this storm's name is. Alright, you got 1 minute to guess it. Alright, one of the largest storms in history. Remember, lowest pressure in recorded history. You are allowed to look things up. Alright, it is 1:40. I wish I didn't have to give away the answer, but this is Typhoon Tip of 1979. Now, if this slide does not transition when I see that in chat, yeah. Penrod Weather saying, that nor'easter that hit this past week made a run for a record low barometric pressure. It didn't quite hit it, but it could have gotten low than any hurricane. It was pretty crazy, that system was. But yeah, this is Typhoon Tip of 1979. And now for our final storm. This one is a little bit more recent than the others. This is actually, well, this is a little bit more recent than the past one. And it happened between 2010 and 2015. It was in the Western Pacific, and it's nearly hit the Philippines. Well, it did hit the Philippines, and it had the strongest landfall ever for a hurricane or a typhoon alike in recorded history, and still to this day holds that record. Alright, let's see. I'm going to give you until 150 to guess this hurricane. And whoever guesses it first wins. So Penrod's Weather in the lead with 3 points, everyone else having 0 at this time. And we'll see if anyone will guess the typhoon. I'll give you another hint. This happened the year before Typhoon Hagupit, which occurred in 2014. This did occur in 2013. And made a landfall with winds of 195 miles an hour. That was its peak intensity. Alright. See if anyone can guess it. Remember, you're allowed to go and look things up. Is it Yolanda? That is what Justin asks. It is Yolanda, or Haiyan, depending on the name. It's Yolanda in the Philippine name, Haiyan in the name that is acknowledged by the rest of the world. That is correct, Justin, with 1 point. Penrod's Weather with 3 points. That was a good game. Now we're going to go to round 2 of this. This one only has 3, but I think that these will be more difficult, but I think that you'll be able to more easily guess them as well. So I think there will be more guesses being made because it's much easier to, I guess, get these right. Alright, so yes, this is Typhoon Haiyan of 2013, or Yolanda, like Justin said, to the Philippines. Alright, now let's get to guess the intensity. This is a game where, well, you have to guess how many miles an hour this storm is within. So we'll see just how intense this storm was rated at. So, how strong is this? What is its wind speed at this time? I will give you a hint. It's more than 100 miles an hour. And it's less than 200 miles an hour. And all of these miles an hour will end on a 5 or 0. Alright, I'll give you another hint. Its intensity is over 150 miles an hour. Alright, still I'm open for questions. If you have any questions to ask me, I would be more than glad to answer those. And get off of topic, it doesn't seem like many more people are wanting to play this game. So we will probably stop here. So this one had wins of 185, this one had wins of 105 to 115, and this one had wins of 205 to 215. So that is the end of that. So let's talk about something else. So we'll talk about something brand new. That would be these new shapes. So, you know what I just realized? I could make weather icons with this. Bam. And then I could, wow. Just now realized. What I could do with this. This is actually pretty powerful. Alright, well, we got about 10 minutes left until the live stream's going to end. So if you have any questions, please do ask now. So we'll go to pivotal weather. We'll look at some precipitation stuff. Like precipitation types. See what exactly we're looking at. Because snow, snow, and more snow is possible. So here we go. I'm going to go to snow depth. Go to a forecast hour slideshow. And we'll see just what snow they expect. So they expect not much, actually, for St. Louis. What about freezing rain? That could be interesting. And it looks like we do have spots where lots of freezing rain could accumulate. So St. Louis, it looks like will be kind of spotty in freezing rain. Over the next couple of days, we'll see what exactly they're thinking with the true ratio. So the ratio is interesting. It varies the ratio. So let's say the ratio could be like 16. So this is the ratio in which for every 1 inch of rain there would be, this is how much snow is going to accumulate. So you'll always start. Normally it's around 10. That's why you see it increase so quickly. You can see it above 10, 16, maybe up to 36. And that's pretty crazy. Alright, well, I'm just going to stop the stream here. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. And I hope to see you in the next Q&A. Bye-bye! This is Microcasting St. Louis, signing out.